Okay, joining us now is David Roach, who's a PR consultant and who worked on the Vote Leave campaign last year. David, you obviously part of all the conversations, part of the campaigning for Brexit. Now Brexit is happening next week, Article 50 is being triggered. In terms of how it looks, how you expected it to pan out, what are your thoughts?
I'm still pretty encouraged. I think we went through a lot of the campaign with Project Fear telling us that we were going to see the sky fall in and the seas rise. That hasn't quite happened. I think most of the economic predictions have been wrong. So a lot of the analysts who are forecasting doom and gloom have had to go away and revise that. So as we head into Article 50 next week, I'm still feeling pretty encouraged, but I think there's still a lot of work for the government to do.
I mean, in terms of Juncker, for example, saying Britain's going to be made an example, or earlier this week at least, he said Britain's going to be the example for the EU as to why not to even try to leave. Do you think there's a lot of heavy rhetoric going on at the moment, which won't be matched when it comes to the reality of negotiating?
Yeah, look, in reality, we've all got far too much skin in the game. So when it comes down to it, exactly as you said, there's a reality check which is going to have to take place. Europe needs to trade with us, we need to trade with the continent. At some point, common sense needs to prevail. But what I would say, as we've heard from some of the speakers on the main stage today, like Jim Mellon, Europe and the European Union is changing very, very rapidly. The euro is teetering on the brink of yet another crisis. We could see some members falling out of the euro. I think there's still got a number of elections to take place this year. So the political dynamic is going to change several times before we get to the end of our 2-year period, by which time we'll be dealing with some very different people. Quite possible that Jean-Claude Juncker might not even be there. So when he talks about us having to pay a huge bill, I suspect that won't happen anyway. But I suspect the change of leadership could mean we get a little bit more common sense entering into it.
And in terms of the trade deal, this 2-year period we have after we trigger Article 50 next Wednesday to negotiate this trade deal in order not to fall off this cliff, are you confident that that's going to be achieved? Because there's a lot of talk about how this is completely impractical and nothing to this scale has ever been done before.
That doesn't mean we shouldn't try, but if I was to give you a tip, it's been my feeling for quite a while now that with all these other countries like the United States who want to do a trade deal with us, we've heard Canada wants to, Australia, New Zealand, China's even said they might want to do one. It's quite possible that we could end up doing a trade deal with these countries before we get some kind of final resolution with the European Union. That's just my gut feeling, because there's a great deal more willingness from these other countries. I think the ease with which we could do it with these other countries could be quite quick. I don't think we should waste too much time waiting for the block of 27 to come to some kind of final conclusion before we actually do a deal. I think we should just steam ahead with these other countries. But I come back to the point I made a few moments ago. If you're working as a French farmer or you're working in the German automotive industry, you want to see a deal done with the United Kingdom. And that means the pressure from the bottom, from business, on the political elites in those countries to actually do a deal is just as much pressure there as there is in this country. And I think it's that political pressure which in the end will see us getting something reasonably sensible. We might not get a trade deal which covers every aspect of the economy. I think we could end up coming up with something quite basic, maybe something to do with agriculture, something to do with automotive, something which leaves out financial services. We'll have to wait and see, but I think we'll probably end up with something quite basic to begin with, which we can then add on in the future.
So there won't be a finalised free trade deal, as it were, a complete comprehensive package. It is going to be several years down the line, after that 2-year period, where little things start being added and further negotiations are had in different sectors.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I haven't got a problem with that, because I think other countries around the world do that with the trade deals that they set up as well. So to be honest with you, that works quite well. But what makes me so optimistic, and one of the reasons, not the only reason, but one of the reasons I wanted to leave the European Union, 30 countries have come forward, roughly, saying they want to do a trade deal with us. And that accounts to something like 60% of the world's GDP. That's a lot. There's a huge opportunity out there for investors in this country and all over the world to come and trade with us. So we'd be foolish not to go after some of these much bigger opportunities than hanging on to a block of 27, which is only 27 countries out of 196. 27 countries which, as we've seen, their main currency is struggling. Some of the banks in Italy are on the verge of collapse. as investors, I think we should be obsessing a great deal more about the opportunities in the wider world instead of obsessing about some of the opportunities that are just in the block of 27.
Okay. Well, David Roach, PR consultant, who was a part of the Vote Leave campaign last year. Thank you very much for coming on the programme.
Thanks, Rob.